It is Friday, August the 8th, 2025. I'm Heath Lambert, and the biggest story of the week is conspiracy theories and Jeffrey Epstein.
The House committee investigating the Jeffrey Epstein files is going after some big names, including Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Breaking news, President Trump just moments ago saying he has not been briefed on what Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, told Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche during those 2 days of discussions in which we're told she mentioned 100 names.
Even in death, the secrets of Jeffrey Epstein remain tightly guarded. But earlier this year, I spearheaded a Wired investigation that uncovered the data of almost 200 mobile phones.
Yes, the files should be released. I'm tired of the government saying that they want to release them.
I have to confess that I'm surprised to be talking about Jeffrey Epstein in August of 2025. If you told me before the July break this year that this would be the biggest story of the week when we returned in August, I wouldn't have believed you. But this story is simply not going away. To catch you up, Jeffrey Epstein is the wicked, disgraced, and now deceased financier who spent his life in sexual perversion using his vast wealth to victimize women and girls. Law enforcement was on to him for a while, but finally sprung the trap in 2019 when he was indicted on federal sex trafficking charges. Epstein died in a New York jail before he could stand trial. For most noteworthy people, death brings an end to all regular involvement in the news cycle. If anything, Epstein's death has only increased it. Questions and accusations continue to swirl around Epstein's cause of death and around the potential conspiracy with powerful people who were involved in his criminal activity, which may be revealed on a potential client list. All these concerns have been exacerbated when, last month, the Justice Department declared no client list existed and released video of Epstein's jail cell in the hours before his death with a gap in the footage. Since then, his criminal associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, has been interviewed by authorities, and this Tuesday, August the 5th, the House of Representatives subpoenaed a number of powerful people to testify in their investigation, including Bill and Hillary Clinton. If that happens, it will constitute the first time in American history that a former president has given such testimony. Everyone wants answers and is demanding honesty and candor about this serious situation. When many talk about this whole mess, they shout conspiracy theory. In fact, we are alive at a time when many people are talking about many conspiracy theories in many different areas besides the Epstein saga. This week, on the biggest story of the week, I want to use the ongoing story of Jeffrey Epstein to evaluate the existence of conspiracy theories and explain how Christians can begin to think about them. Conspiracy theories occur at the intersection of four realities. First, conspiracy theories happen because of the existence of truth. Philippians chapter 4, verse 8 commands Christians to think on whatever is true. That passage not only tells us to think about the truth, it also teaches the very existence of truth. The truth is when the reality of a thing lines up with the report about that same thing. The biblical command to think on what is true begins to explain our desire to know the truth. God has placed this desire in the heart of every person. Conspiracy theories exist because people want to know the truth and will not usually settle for a report of a thing that is at odds with the reality of that same thing. Second, conspiracy theories happen because of the existence of extraordinary events. Truth is easier to attain and embrace in normal times and normal situations. When we listen to a loved one report on their day at the office, when a physician diagnoses a mild medical problem that can be cured with a simple prescription, or when a stranger introduces themselves and shares their name, we don't normally have trouble accepting the truthfulness of their report. But extraordinary events strain our ability to embrace what we are told. When presidents are assassinated, when illnesses like COVID shut down the world economy, and when powerful men sinfully abuse hundreds of innocent women, simple descriptions of truth become harder to embrace. We begin to look for an explanation that seems to match the scale of the extraordinary situation. Third, Conspiracy theories happen because of the existence of distrust. The limited nature of human knowledge means most of us don't know much without receiving information from others. That makes trust a premium commodity in human relationships, and when that trust is squandered, people begin to wonder about all they don't know, and conspiracy theories will quickly spring up. We're living in a world of massive distrust. People feel betrayed by elected officials, members of the media, and many, many others. When you combine that with the reality that we are living in days where we experience one extraordinary event after another, it's not any wonder that conspiracy theories abound. One way to solve this is to have the people who report information be scrupulously honest in the way they do it. But until that happens, these problems are going to continue. Finally, conspiracy theories can only happen with the existence of alternative sources of information. When extraordinary events and an environment of distrust thwart the pursuit of truth, people will begin to look for other sources of information. This is as it should be, and in general terms, the existence of other sources of information is a good thing. Multiple outlets of information serve as a source of accountability in the world of information sharing by fact-checking each other and ensuring against the corruption that inevitably flows from a solitary outlet of information. But we must be careful. Alternative sources of information are not inherently reliable merely by being distinct from the untrustworthy source that drove us to them. As Christians, we must be discerning and insist that our information sources don't only tell us what we want to hear or confirm our worst suspicions. Information sources are reliable when they report facts that can be corroborated, and when those corroborated facts are reported by someone with something to lose. When a person who cannot be fired tells you what they think may have happened, this is not a source that is worthy of your trust. All this points to the difficulty of knowing real truth in a world overwhelmed by lies. That difficulty is more profound than it may seem and will ensure that in this fallen world, we never have as much certainty about the truth as we want. That's true about Jeffrey Epstein and any other controversial headline. But that doesn't mean that truth is unobtainable. In John 17:17, Jesus makes clear that God's word is truth. In John 14:6, he says that he himself is the personification of truth. That means people can know real truth as they turn from sin, trust in Jesus, and study God's perfect word. As we grow in our love and knowledge of that most important and foundational truth, we can trust that God will make us increasingly discerning about truth in other matters. That's the biggest story of the week. I can't wait to see you next Friday when we talk about next week's biggest headline.